Thank you, Caroline. Thank you, Ramantara, for your great update. And I wish to welcome Mr. Keshe into our meeting now. So, Mr. Keshe, could you give us a brief description about yourself and the mission of the foundation for our listeners, please?
Good morning, good evening. Thank you very much for your time. Initially, or fundamentally, I'm a nuclear physicist. And the work of the foundation, in essence, started when I was very young in trying to find solutions for mankind to be able to live in the depth of the space. And over some 50 years of research and development and many other things, we brought the work of space in a way that we don't need fuel to fly. We use the understanding of the motion of the universal entities like Earth and Sun, how they have no motors, no wings, but they rotate and live in the universe for billions of years and create life and existence like us within them. And in the process of research and development, we have found out many ways that how the actual creation works and how we can replicate it in simple systems. And in essence, when you reach this point, you see the beauty of the Creator, and in so many ways, the work of creation is peaceful and serene. And we use this knowledge not only to share it freely, to teach, but at the same time use it to create peace. We've been involved in a number of peace activities, initiated some, and overall our logo, or what we call ethos, is peace. And because we have the knowledge and the new technology, we call it technology in exchange for peace. We give technology to nations to create conditions of peace. And we've been successful vastly in these kind of operations. Teaching new science, understanding the creation from the essence of the interaction of magnetic fields, and now using it effectively in different aspects of the man's life. If I can put it in a very simple way this way.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Well, we have a question here from Caroline, who's part of our panel. I've been doing meditations in which I enter the Life Enhancement Unit for assistance with health issues. I have found that several things unfold in the course of the meditation. For one, I feel an energy field forming around me, like a light blue or green cloud of energy that begins to communicate with my cells and my energy field. I also see inwardly that several beings are there, working with me to address the health issues. They can see the issues and the energetic basis for them without my having to describe them. These beings are multi-locating. They are etheric. They are not physical in the sense that human beings are. Each works on a different aspect of what needs to be healed. One assists in removing trauma energies from this and other lives. Another speaks to the intelligence within the cells to encourage them to act differently and to organize a bit differently so as to support healing. Another being works purely on my overall energy systems. Is this experience anything like what was planned for the Life Enhancement Units? It feels to be similar to being in the etheric realms and almost identical to what I see in meditation when I visualize being in a healing chamber on a ship. Are the Life Enhancement Units part organic or etheric in nature? Because they seem to have sentient aspects in which they relate immediate ways to each person who enters the unit.
What we call enhancement unit, the way it's been built and now demonstrated, presented in Linz in Austria. And there's some different understanding of it. These systems are built for man to survive in a space where we don't take medicine, we don't take food. And for the first time, the structure of material used in these systems reaches both emotion and physical at the same time. And we know some 70-75% of majority of the illnesses mankind has is psychosomatic, which means psychologically you create the illness in an open way or in a hidden way without knowing. And the structure of the fields created by material within the system is to elevate the soul, elevate the energy which has created the psychological problem, and at the same time make it available for the physical part which is damaged to repair itself. It's the first time ever mankind has such a facility, physical and psychological, what we call enhancing or repair. And so they do. And we've seen the results of it over some 30 years plus 40 years of research, development, and testing around the world. So in a space when you enter the machine, you don't need a doctor because the system has availability of the energies, magnetic field, which matches and sees in a way where what is needed, the body takes from it. And at the same time, where physically is damaged, is repaired by availability of the energy. In a way, when you can take a tablet for headache or you take a tablet for a cancer, it's targeted energy to that point. Now instead of taking a tablet, we make the energy available outside that the body takes as in it. So if it looks to you that you are seeing things healing your emotion, at the same time another part healing your physicality, this is what these systems do. And so when your body decides what it needs to take and where the damage is, there is no need for a doctor. And when the energies are transferred this way, there is no need for medicine. There is one fundamental understanding in the new space technology that the food we eat converts into magnetic field plasma transfer in the stomach or in the lung, the air we breathe, and then reaches where it's needed as energy. When you take a banana, the banana doesn't go to the cell. The energy of the banana as a plasma, as a field, transfers across the wall of the intestine into the lymph, and lymph transfers this energy to where it's needed. Now instead of eating and transferring it in the body to energy to go to a place, we make it available in the environment of the body, and body does it directly. So we see we don't even need to take food to a space anymore because we make the energy available in all aspects of the strength, and the body takes as it needs. So a space without a doctor, a space without the medicine, a space without the food is now what is available to mankind. So it allows us to travel independently and allows us to travel in space unlimited, because most of the restriction of the new or present space technologies, how much food and what medicine can we take with us. But essentially, if you understand this, then when you use these machines on regular basis, or the technology on regular basis, once a month, once a year, once a regular basis, this heals or enhances the body, or whatever you want to call it in the world of medicine, that you don't wait till the cancer is developed. You enhance the energy, you repair the emotional damage, and if there is any physical damage is repaired too. So in the coming time in the space, we won't see illnesses, because if the man of space regularly goes to the machine to get fed, any damage is done. So life become everlasting, because rejuvenation of the cells is there. The essence of if somebody hurted you today, that it becomes a prostate cancer in 5 years' time is sorted now. In 5 years' time, there is no illness, because you literally kill the problem at its root at the beginning. So what we see, a new way of living. And when you see this kind of living, you become peaceful. The peace starts with the soul, with physicality, and then it goes into family, the city, the nations, and the world. And so not we only talk in using it for peace, we make life peaceful from essentially from the beginning. When you're agitated, when you have a pain, then you agitate the others and cause problem for the others. But with this way, you sort it out before it becomes a problem. And that's the beauty of the new technology. And when you see these things in your body, in reality, this is what the enhancement is. It enhances what it needs at a point that you don't need it. It's not there. Cancer will never start. Diseases like fibromyalgia, which is essentially psychosomatic from the emotional damages of other people, is sorted from the beginning. MS will not exist because the emotional feeling of wanting attention due to problem with parents, especially mother before age of puberty, is sorted at the beginning. So for the first time, the enhancement unit solves problem before it starts. And in depth of a space, we need a calm situation between people. And as they use these systems for food, the repair is done even to emotion when they go inside it. So a new way of knowledge, understanding the way the universe works, brings a lot of peace dividends for us. We don't allow people to become psychologically so demented that they then become the world leaders that start the wars to prove who they are. The future leaders will become calm. If somebody wants to become a president of your nation, you spend a few weeks on a regular basis in the system, then you truly show who you are and what you want to do. Not to lie and cheat and then become president and then bring all whatever it was psychological demented behavior become a way of running a nation. In a way we can correct. Scientists can certify that the president has been in the system. Emotional and physical damages have been repaired, and what he says is what he will do. We will receive and we'll have just leaders. And this is the way the world of science has brought a new dimension. New understanding of knowledge and technology brings new dimensions. I'm sure in 4 years' time, in your next round of elections in the United States, the Senate and governments will ask your leaders to spend time in these machines, have a certification that they have spent time and they've become peaceful leaders. This is the new enhancement technology will become a way of living, not just because we have created it, because it works, because we see the change in people. And we will see even people who we want to send to space, they spend time in these machines, that when they enter in the whole program to travel depths of the space for years, you don't find psychological problems. And so it's part of the new technology which has developed and works on the way your body works. There is no chemicals or chemistry. The systems create fields from them. Essentially, the materials your body is made of and is available for body to take as it needs it, and body only takes what it needs from it. And we see it's a new change, and we see these technology, these machines sold in contractual large numbers that in the next 5 or 10 years, you'll see one in every hospital around the world. You'll see most probably many people holding groups as one that you regularly visit on a contribution basis, that you don't become ill anymore. Because if you go to a machine half an hour a day for 2 or 3 days every 6 months, you essentially repair yourself from any future damages which you are not aware of. And what we see, we are already working on units like you go to photo kiosks to take pictures for your passport. You go into these machines on a regular basis and your body feeds you, then you don't need to eat, because that's what's going to happen in space. We can't carry cows and banana with us, but we carry the energies which they produce in a magnetic field form, and your body takes what it needs. A new way of living has started with scientific solid background, and we see it taking hold. That's why the foundation has over 200+ million regular visitors and supporters around the world, and is growing on a regular basis.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. We have another question from Julie. How did you discover and develop this Gans technology? Can you describe the process?
Essentially, as I said, I'm a nuclear physicist from London University in 1980s. From early age, I was about 8-10 years old, I could see a problem in the space technology when I watched the first man going to the moon. Wasn't the way it should be done. And so I set out to develop, to understand how planetary systems work without the fuel. And in that process, working with nuclear material and becoming a nuclear physicist, specialized in developing nuclear reactors for the British government, I start looking at once you have the motion and the fuel, you see there are other things you can do with it, creating food, generating new materials. And so it's a progressive development. And what happened in 1980s, 90s, I start looking into how materials can be used. So copper is a copper. I had to look to develop a new technology that if I could make a molecular copper, which makes the copper in your hand, to a single atom copper, now I had a nanomaterial. And then if I could take this single atom out, I could have a single atom moving, which now behaves like a sun. And over 20 years, I developed essentially what we call the nanomaterials. Most of the evolution in nanotechnology up to present time in batteries, in other things, are from the paper I released as a patent in 2004, 2005. And essentially showed how you can change a molecular to atomic and atomic to a single atom floating, which we call gas in nanostate. And now you have a sun. And if you have a sun from the copper, or if you have a sun from zinc, what we call Gans, they have specific energies. And how many of them, in what way you interact, gives you different interaction of fields. If you find the difference between two metal, which gives you energy of 6, it allows you to capture carbon. If you find a difference of another size, it allows you to capture gases from the space, energy fields, which then in the environment you create of the salt like the sea, you can convert it into the energy of that material. So the process from present time is very advanced. You got to understand that nowadays, when we talk about nanotechnology is the edge of the science, Keshe Foundation has gone to the next step, which is even separating that single atom in nano as a structure to floating individual magnetic field. So Keshe Foundation gas technology is something like 50 years ahead of the present, what you read, the latest in nanotechnology. And I've been told by those who work in the world of nanotechnology, we are the leaders. And most of my work has become the work of most of the nanotechnologies around the world. The computers you use, the new chips, all uses different ways what I developed as a simple way to create nanomaterials, and in a simple way then change it to energy. And it took me 10 years to do it in a way by household goods like caustics you use in washing bathroom. You create a high heat, the top layers melt very rapidly, they evaporate, but because the temperature drops very rapidly, the atomic structure as a gas comes back to attach to the metal, but it cannot find its way. It sets itself in a nanomaterial, in a black stuff. So you had a copper, as we know. Now suddenly the copper takes a nano layer on it. It becomes black. And for it to become black is at least between 30 to 50,000 layers of it that absorbs all the lights. That's why it's black. And then we put it through a natural process, what this oceans does. What is our bodies made? We put it in a salt container. Now, this, if you create a right field or pull between two metals or field, these little atomic structures release and now become gas and become a new energy source. And you can create fields to absorb gases from the universe, or you can create fields of two metal, that one is a nano and one is a normal metal. Then the nano releases itself and you collect the gas of the material. So science has broken through in a big way, and now we see the essence of the new technology. Being a nuclear physicist and trained to be especially developer of nuclear reactors, I use this knowledge to develop simple reactors to, first of all, clear release of atomic structure into a single energy, and then building simple systems to use them to create the enhancement unit, the new flight system, and the rest of it. It's 50 years of work. And with it, when you develop these things, you see the true beauty of the creator and the creation. We don't become atheists, we become knower of the truth.
So when people make the cup one and they drink the plasma water, what on an energy point of view and an atomic point of view is happening to the cells of the human body when we drink the plasma water from making our own Gans?
Cup one, what you know as cup one, came with a special way. I lived in China for nearly 2 years, 3 years, on and off. And during my stay, the Chinese officials faced what we call pig flu, African pig flu. Millions of Chinese pigs were dying around the world coming from Russia. And Chinese national security and the government asked me, can you look into how you can do this to help? We started with one pig, and then we proved saved the pig life, and then more, and then on 829 pigs, we were taken to a special farm by the national security forces. And when we arrived, already 70 odd of them were dead because of the flu. And when we walked out of the pig farm, 14 days later, we saved 725 pigs' lives. And then we understood the technology, which was built essentially for virus, was correct. In a space, we don't have bacteria. In a space, we have packs of energy we call viruses. This is what we understood in our research. So now we put one energy we call Gans in front of another one, which is a virus. It depletes its energy. So we understood the technology. Now we have to find a matching energy in a weaker form to be able to drain the energy of the virus and make it ineffective. In the newer space technology, we don't kill anything. We just bring balances of energies. And in a way, it's from a virus killing, it becomes exists but without damage. So we released a report to the Chinese government and it's around the world as a pig flu, how it can be solved with the Gans technology. In January of this year, I was approached by the Chinese National Security when Wuhan city outbreak of flu, of what we call the virus, came in. And on Chinese New Year, I was flying from Istanbul to Vienna, and I received this request by the Chinese authorities just before I leave, as one of our head of China operation was leaving from Istanbul to Beijing. I was just in Beijing a week, 2 weeks before that. I lived in Beijing for some time, so in a way, China is a second home for me. And on a flight, as a nuclear physicist, understanding the virus, I developed one cup, a simple method to create energy of the virus, but in a weaker form. And immediately on my landing, before I leave Istanbul, I asked my team to make a screen ready that we make a recording. And it was the eve of the Chinese New Year. And we gifted this cup to the Chinese nation as one cup, one life. Where in this cup, understanding the nanostructure and the materials, I created a weak version of the virus. And we went public. It was put on the largest internet structure of the Chinese, what we call Tencent.com, teaching people in China how to use it. And then it was picked up by the Chinese military in a vast way, asking the Chinese knowledge seekers of the Keshe Foundation to show them how to do it. It was cleaned up by they used the military to clean up the Wuhan city. We saw the president going to the city. It was cleaned before then. It's all recorded by the Keshe Foundation knowledge seekers and Chinese military. And then we got hit by it in Iran. I'm an Iranian national, even lived in Europe for over 45 years. I never changed my passport to anything. I stayed loyal to my nation. Immediately, the Iranian knowledge seekers, which runs in tens of thousands, asked for help. And we set up the Telegram groups. And in these groups now, over 200,000 people in different shape or form supported the system. And we ran an operation with one of the leading universities in Iran, and it's proven to be 100% correct. We can curb the corona. But we ran into problem with the Iranian officials trying to bribe and take the foundation for ransom to release the technology. In Iran, on daily basis, thousands of people use it. One cup, one life is one cup which saves one life. Then we have released documents, 180 odd pages, scientifically what we call proven every steps, and it's given to the American government and European nations, and the Chinese have received the official report of it. And in a way, you can save your life with corona. But in the process of supporting Chinese and the Iranians being ahead of the whole corona problem, we realized this virus is evolving, mutating. And we developed a second cup to stop this mutation from long into other parts of it. Up to now, we have recognized 26 versions of it, and in different combination of the use of the cups and what we call Cup 1, and then Cup 2 came to handle the physical part. Cup 1 is for the lung infection of the virus. Cup 2 is for intestine and the rest of the body. And in that process, we gradually have developed a full understanding of how we can further develop this technology in all for all diseases. What this means in space, as we come across energy packs, we can use different strengths of the field to overcome the virus. So with this understanding, in the next coming time, years, decades, man will not have any fear of the virus, because now we understand this is why we had this problem up to now. Bacteria, we see interaction of the amino acids. Viruses is an energy pack which overwhelms the cell and sits on top of it, so it creates a shield on it. That's why antibiotic cannot reach it. With a new technology of the Gans, we create a weaker version of the same energy. Now the virus energy, in trying to feed its energy to the weaker, it loses its strength and the recovery. So in a space, we don't need to send people back, we only have a new virus. Immediately we understand the energy pack, we replicate it in the weakest cell, and energy is released. We don't need to come back to pharmaceutical and wait 10 years, half of the crew died because of the new virus. When you go into the enhancement machine sets for the new virus and it depletes it, that's it. It's the new evolution in science and technology. And everything created on this planet and in the universe comes from interaction of the fields. Now we have to understand how they interact, why they interact, and the way they interact, then we can set up a system for it. For example, now we have a machine, we'll start testing it this afternoon, where we use the interaction of the fields to create materials, zinc, water, oil, or whatever you need. In Iran, we use a system with our knowledge seekers that we have created a river of oil, cooking oil. Literally runs like a river. We have produced in Europe technology where we can produce copper and zinc from the interaction of the fields. So in a space, I want aluminium to build something, I don't need to come back to Earth. I create a field condition that the interaction creates me aluminium. And these are all certified by independent research laboratories and government officials in Austria and in Germany. And in that process, now we don't need to mine anymore to destroy the overall structure of the planet. I was one of the leading, what we call communication systems in China, before I left China last year by the invitation of the officials. And we have told them, you don't need to go and exploit Africa to bring copper. We give you systems that you produce the copper you need, the purity you need, the combination you need right in your factory. What we do in space, we do on Earth. And you will see these units very rapidly around the world. They're already shown in what I call in Austria. The machines are now in public domain, and we see them as part of the new structure, as you can see it on the picture I've just released. This is a picture taken this afternoon. You see the big ball in the background. The ball was closed today, and as you see, our research team are testing for release and development of the new materials. When the system opens up, it's like an egg you crack in the middle, and we have it open. This is the first time we show this in public. The systems are closed, and we test it when there is no public, and we see what we produce. and literally this is a few hours ago, about 10 hours ago in the afternoon. And we are not in theory, we are in reality, in what it is and what technology is. If you open the picture, you see different aspects of the technology, how we produce the gases and the rest of it. Mankind has entered a new era in science. And essentially, we are not theoretical because we have the systems. We have developed technologies for it. First time tried in what I call September, October of 2008 as the first flying machine in Iran, in Sharif Tehran University, with the cooperation between the Keshe Foundation and the Iranian government. And we've seen the part of it, the peace dividend of it, where in what we call 2011, the capture of the American drone was the benefit of it. We've seen the use of it in the past, what we call couple of years, where the Iranian used the technology covering American base in Iraq. And we've seen from that day, America has become literally ineffective in Middle East, where Iran showed can take over the base without leaving any need for doing any damage outside. So we can create domes like greenhouses. And essentially, the technology now is under review and understanding by all scientists and people who, what we call, understand the creation of new technology, understand the essence of the new technology. In reality, what you see on the screen is an enhancement unit for producing material with a number of what we call the buyers and the officials who come to see the unit in Linz. And when we close it, as you've seen it, this is, if you look on the picture on the screen, this center is like a sun, and inside we set up a structure like the Earth, the Saturn. We can choose, and we can produce the materials which are on Earth. When it closes, inside is like a solar system. When it closes in another version, which has got a chair, is like the womb of the mother. You receive what you need. We create a mini version of the womb. And when you're in the womb of the mother, you're not fed, you're given freely. And that's what we do. And there are new versions of this, which is for space travel, which creates lift and motion. Essentially, we have understood the essence of creation, and we replicated it being in life by sitting on it, or sitting in it, or being part of it. This allows us to become passengers of the universe without ever depending on Earth. And with it comes a lot of psychological taboos which we had in respect to how things are done. And essentially, world scientists are radically and rapidly taking into it, understanding it. It allows us to teach freely the new technology, and with it brings new dimensions.
And how is the present scientific community handling this information, Mr. Keshe?
2 years ago, maybe around 2 years ago, the national security of China and the government came to in a meeting in Beijing office, and they said they want to bring some of the scientists to understand this technology after a presentation. They said by next week we bring our leading scientists, and then we discuss. They came back with the what we call leading scientists, and with 2 of them, after asking for 2-3 days more extension. And we said, okay, the 2 scientists came, and they said to us with the officials from the Chinese government, that we went to all leading universities and scientists in China, telling them that there's a discovery of new technology we want them to understand. And they said, 95% of our scientists know about you. We didn't know this extension of the spread of the knowledge. And they've sent 2 people, leading scientists in energy and another, just to greet you and thank you for the technology. And the 2 gentlemen are here. At the highest level in China, in the scientific and world of business, of space and medicine, they know the technology. So that gives a representation of the technology. This is the health unit when you sit in it, or when you lie in it. When it closes, you are processed directly. So we met with a lady in China. She wanted to meet us because she knew I'm there. And she said, when you come, I'll take you to a leading American hospital in China, where it's for cancer. We met her outside. She explained to us that she used the Gans technology to help her mother with the lung cancer. And she was spreading the knowledge around highest level in China, oil and the rest, for this purpose. We asked her why. She said, I am the head of Ericsson Battery Research Center for 10 years. And we've used your nanotechnology in the production of new batteries for Ericsson and Nokia. Your technology is well known in China. That's how I knew I can use the technology to help my mother. And he said, you have revolutionized the battery world. I know because I had the research. And we have used your technology. We know its benefit. And so when you see the new Tesla cars, the new version of batteries is part of this nanotechnology which is made available. And people like this we meet, they tell us how they're using it and how they use my patent because it's open to develop their own ways. You wouldn't have the present batteries you carry in your mobile phones without Keshe Foundation technology in nano patent, which was released in 2004, 2005. We have become part of the root of the knowledge, but at the same time we teach it openly and the scientists come and learn from it and they use it.
So in terms of the space technology, how many countries have actually signed the peace treaty with you, with the foundation?
We have given the peace treaty to all the world leaders and ambassadors. There is a problem. Obama individually as a person believes and signs to it, but he cannot sign his nation to it. Putin sent the peace treaty to Duma more than 5 years ago to be ratified. Chinese leadership is in possession of. President Xi of China has a copy on his desk for 5 years, and he was given the second time when I was in Beijing, and a special print in his name. World leaders know. We approached the Trump administration last year for peace talk between Iran and America to bring this stupidity, insanity into order. I negotiated with the Obama administration and knowledge in exchange for peace, and we came to 5+1 agreement in Iran. I had the negotiation from the beginning when American president on the day of election. Second time around, Obama was elected. In the morning, I received a call from American ambassador that he has an instruction from President Obama to accept the key with the patents of the Keshe Foundation, which is Iranian patent, as the Chinese and American, what they call it, Russians and the rest had it. We met on the 17th of November in Brussels with the American officials, and in giving the key with the patents and everything on it, I put a hand out. I said, you want Iranian technology, we want peace. They said it cannot be done. Obama will not ratify it. I said to speak. White House ordered, we negotiate. I gave the key. We start negotiation in the background. I said negotiation happens with Iran. I stay in the background. Iran into problem in the Senate. I sorted it out very rapidly through the way which was set up by the Obama's administration. And we got the 5+1. Going through the same, we approached Trump last year to start negotiation between Iran and the United States. And the head of White House came back. Trump says he will not negotiate with Keshe because he'll get his way and he'll get peace, and I'm not there for peace. This is the direct answers of Trump to Keshe Foundation and my request. And our connections in Washington, they said, Obama said, what do you call it? Trump says he will not talk to Keshe. He has nightmares about you. And essentially, the Washington in both administrations are aware of my work and our work, and they see it as a way, if they get peace, what's going to happen to the factories and armament they sell and the power they have. Essentially, you have no more power. We showed it in Iraq. We create a dome, we take everything out. And we've seen they killed one of the Iranian leaders in military who was a peaceful man to creating peace in Middle East. Within days, using a technology, a small reactor, we created a dome with all their might. They could see it with the satellite, they could not touch the base. We took the base in a peaceful way, and from that day, Americans realized they have no power. And from that day, we've seen every rhetoric with Iran has stopped because there is no power to match the new technology. We create a field like the atmosphere around Earth, and then we can use it. In China, we have increased the harvest by 2 to 3 times in 1 million square meter of land using this technology. The peace dividend of this technology is much more powerful than any man could imagine. China by 2025 will become an independent national, international food supplier, where China now at the moment imports 40% of its grain from outside. Chinese government will use this technology in the next 2 to 5 years to bring 25 million farmers from poverty in overwealth line of poverty, where the same land using the same technology will produce 2 to 3 times more harvest. Now the farmer has money to live. Where we tested in Inner Mongolia and in different part of China, farmers for the first time, they can feed their children with no worries, without any fertilizer, without any pesticide. The revolution in China with this new technology is enormous. We have been given a 1 billion RMB grant just to develop the ceramic side of this technology. We are opening one of the largest factories gifted to us by the Chinese government to mix the enhancement of the Institute of Technology with China, with ceramic, where the original China plates came from. We are in that city. And this allows us to change a lot of things. You make a plate, you put your fruit on it, never rots. We have developed a cup with the Chinese. It's a small cup like a jar, flower jar. You send this to the African nations in the hospital. The biggest problem in Africa is keeping cutting tools in surgeries and in hospitals clean. You put water in this jar and you put everything while you're operating in it for 10 seconds, you take it out. It's cleaner than the most advanced electrical systems made by the Americans to sanitize surgery rooms. It's tested. We've been given a 300 million open grant to build the first space environment, lab and research center by the Yellow River by the Chinese government. The silence put on Keshe Foundation in the East to control it is well internally by the East nation, by China. is used for change in the structure of China. China will come out of this technology as a superior force over America by covering it under blanket. They are falling behind. And the same with Iran. The Chinese, Russians, and the Iranians are using this technology in a rapid way that, as we've seen it in Iraq, we've shown you have no power. We've shown in China, we can increase harvest. We've shown it with what we call the viruses. It's evolution in technology, and by ignoring it, you become worse than the third world nations in Africa. And I warned Americans a long time ago about this. In this administration, we are negotiating in the background, and we enter talk with hopefully your new administration in a few weeks' time. We support your new vice president and the new president to become. We think, and we are supported of Mrs. Harris. And if she comes on the banner of the way it is, America will be revolutionizing the industry in the next 2 to 5 years. Voting for the new administration of, other than the present administration, will bring a massive dividend of jobs and national security to America. Ignoring such a revolution brings you what I call the shame you received in Iraq last year by the most powerful nation in the world, watching its soldiers cannot be defended. So we support the new administration of what we call the First Lady as a vice president and to be the next president of the United States. We enter negotiation, peace in exchange for technology from Iran and the United States. And we have already entered this phase. We have built the first Iranian American scientific base enhancement unit in the state of Arizona. And it's ready to receive the unit. And we have invited American NASA, Lockheed Martin, to join us to learn from the Iranian scientists in heart of the United States. We have already entered the phase of the peace negotiation direct in that way. And in January, hopefully with the new administration, we will get the support to bring NASA to a new level of what the Chinese and the Russians are traveling into the space with to develop. There's one thing with me, I don't talk, I act. And we have invested, the Keshe Foundation, as an Iranian-owned organization, owns 51% of the company in Arizona. Our other partners, Americans, the base is already complete and will come into full operation. And part of it, which we stated with the state of Arizona and the governor, this base will be open for American Iranian national scientists in the space to collaborate together. And we are already built it. And in January is ready for what I call harvesting, joint collaboration between Iran, space scientists, Keshe Foundation as an organization, American space scientists in Arizona. Peace is sweet if you have the technology to enforce it, and we have it. And we support the new administration, as we have found Trump has no room for peace. And we will see, as our logo says, it's very simple. Technology has to be provider of the peace. Technology has to be. A new technology offers mankind what mankind needs to have. And we'll be progressing that way. As much as we're progressing in Iran, in Russia, in China, and with a large number of what we call investments around the world, we gradually, silently changing the things underneath.
I have a question from a caller, Mr. Keshe. How is this technology going to be put forth to the average homeowner that they can get this technology and take advantage of it within their own homes?
Go to keshefoundation.com or .org, KESHE Foundation.org and learn it. You can do it. In China, children use it. In Europe, women use it. It's so simple. You don't need to be university educated. Follow the procedures, see the benefit of it, and gradually learn. I have opened my pattern as a gift to humanity. What I call the books written are available. The teachings are free on the internet, and just simply teach yourself how to make ganses, how to make materials and the conditions, how to use the Gans and water your garden and increase your harvest and everything else. And essentially, the knowledge is on the internet. No knowledge ever being given so freely anywhere in the world. These are the books, the Iranian version of it, because the book is translated to many, many languages now, published. You can buy it in Arizona in English. And this is the new space center getting developed in Arizona. The center is more or less now ready. The dark room see on the ceiling is the circle where 12 system will sit. In this room, in the next few months, we will see the direct collaboration of the Iranian scientists and the Americans in sharing and developing, most probably with the presence of Chinese and the Russians in building the new cycle of life for space. A new space technology which mankind has been waiting for. And we'll see into what extent jointly we develop this technology. And we'll see into what extent we will see the piece evidence of the new technology. It's not a talk, it's now in a full operation. And gradually we all will see this piece evidence of Keshe Foundation work. And the biggest, I think, piece evidence will be when we see NASA scientists and the Keshe Foundation scientists collectively with the Iranian space scientists work in these centers. And everything is available for it. It needs a sensible leader in the White House to what I call take it up and in so many ways bring what we did with Obama back into order. Bring peace between nations and use a new technology for it. We are not asking anything else. We are offering a technology freely to a nation. And in so many ways, as I've said before, you can see this is what is now in the hands of your governments. You have to be able to understand this. This is the new center in Arizona. And is befitting what we call the new science and technology collaboration of two nations. Now, forgetting about everything else to develop and bring mankind to a new system. In this center in Arizona, there are 12 systems, 3 allocated for producing new materials, 3 allocated for joint use by the American forces and the Iranian forces in space and defense. And 6 is for public, to be used for cancer, enhancement of the body to recuperate from it, and every other disease. We don't treat, we don't cure. We allow the body to process a natural process system. And these centers will you see across the planet. And as we announced in the past week, citizens of each nation can put part towards the system, and the foundation will support the rest of it to have one system, one city. And now we're negotiating with a number of organizations to facilitate for 15 cities, 100 cities, and that kind of process. And a lot of people are putting 50,000, 100,000, 10,000, 1,000 to put finances forward to pay for these machines, which are €1 million each. And today, for example, I received 1,000 gifts from African citizens from Africa for his nations. This is about my €1,000 for building the first center in Africa. So the process is in the hand of the knowledge seekers and the people who understand it.
So is there any special requirements? Let's say I'm an injured vet and I've got shrapnel still stuck in my leg from my time in the war. What will the enhancement unit do for people like that?
The technology is set, especially the system you set in, to convert the energy of the shrapnel in your body into position that the shrapnel can be taken out as energy, not as a matter state. We've done this before, it's been tested. If you have a shrapnel, we create a condition inside the system where we put two energy systems on either side of your injury, and we transfer energy from one to another, and the shrapnel in between, because the fields are set at the strength of the material that shrapnel could be, will convert it and take the energy out, and you literally can have the piece of shrapnel in your hand outside. This has been done. This is not theoretical anymore. If you can understand more implication of this technology, you can repair heart. You don't need to do open surgeries. We have tested it. You can replace by allowing the kidney to repair itself for what it needs. Dialysis machines are history because you can change it. You can bring the kidneys back to operation. We've done this a number of times. And so the scientists have to find new ways to implement this technology. But essentially, this is not for a space. And we allowed it, we opened it for public to use it as an open source patent. So it's freely there. And the Chinese are in so many ways more advanced than other people, because I spent a lot of time in China. I've developed huge amount of knowledge for the Chinese in the space and development. I can show you the Keshe Foundation space technology is extremely well known in China. Chinese government estimates something around 5 to 10% of the Chinese are aware of the knowledge and technology. And it's used in many aspects. It's used in concrete, it's used in paint. We have developed a paint for the Chinese army while I was there that is used in painting the military bases in Tibet, where the soldiers, when they go into open because of the low level of pressure and oxygen, they get a lot of problems. When they come back in the room, they recover. This paint will be offered in Europe after January. It keeps the room temperature between 22 to 24 degrees. It brings the need for fuel heating more or less to minimum. We have already started talking to one of the paint distributors in Europe to distribute this material. The peace dividend with the new technology is enormous. You see, Americans, by ignoring it, they cannot do anything with it. In America, you have millions of people suffering with this corona. In Iran, as you see it in the bottles, it says 1 cup, 1 life is given freely to people to save their lives. We have problem with the present Iranian president blocking this technology to come in public in Iran, but more than 500,000+ lives have been saved in Iran by it. In America, you say Iranians hiding and do not show real true numbers because we don't have the true numbers. The true numbers is there is number of internet telegram channels. There are most advanced technologies in communication in Iran are loaded with the Keshe Foundation. People come in, ask for help. They are shown or they are given the material freely. And the same life. Iran is more or less one of the nations which truly shows its figures reality because the rest are using the Gans technology. If you call an Iranian support team, within hours the material is delivered to your home freely. Now we have Iranians who have families around the world in Vienna, in Los Angeles or wherever, and they call the Keshe Foundation in Iran, says our family in such countries in desperate need, they have a corona. Iranian knowledge seekers, worldwide knowledge seekers around the world deliver the material to the family freely. We've done that in US, we've done that in Europe, Germany, all over the world. We have a problem with somebody who knows somebody in Hawaii with a corona. We ask from the American team, who do we have in Hawaii who can support? Within hours, material is delivered. We have come to know the strength of the knowledge and the spread of it through corona. Every city on this planet has a knowledge seeker of Keshe Foundation. And out of nowhere, when we ask for requests for help, they pop out. I'm here, I can help.
And they give freely from their soul, don't they, Mr. Keshe?
They get freely, everything is free. Everything is free. My condition to the knowledge seekers is simple. I gave my knowledge to you freely, you help humanity freely. In Iran, we reach the remotest places, even the taxi drivers, the truck drivers, they have joined the system that if somebody takes, they know the bottle, they know it's a cup of life. They drive to it, they say, we are going from this place to that place, I take it. We give it to lorry drivers. The Keshe Foundation team gives it to motorbikes. They go, there is such thing, I'm going that way, where do you want to take? We have set up a beautiful network in Iran. People come online and immediately get helped within minutes. And if it's critical conditions, we have a support team in the background with doctors. We immediately, doctors come in, and if the doctors cannot find a solution for new mutation, I get involved with the doctors. We literally go into the house of people, 2 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning. Half of the Iranian parliament use this material. In one test, 200 members of the Iranian parliament were affected by corona. They still go to the parliament because they use the Keshe technology. They all have it. The head of forces, when we go to the interviews or negotiation, we see bottle of gases on the table. It says, you don't need to tell us. We are using it. We have become part of Iran civil defense with a license from the government. The only problem we have is our president, who is, he sold his nation, his soul to what is under his turban. We don't know which passport he carries. And they're blocking it in every shape or form. But at the moment, at any moment in Iran, between 5,000 to 10,000 people on different channels are online. And they're using the technology. At the moment, in one channel is what, 6 o'clock in the morning, 18,845 people are members, 300 people are online getting help. In other channels, there are 35,000. Over 2,500 people are online, are getting help. And I set up this in different languages and different nations for this purpose. This you can see, if I take a little bit off, this is currently as we have in Iran Corona team, where, as I said to you, there we are. This is the present status of number of people in Iran in one channel. There are a number of channels. You can see it is live. And on the top it says Keshe Foundation Corona team. 18,000 members, 301 people online. These are groups, families. They help the children.
So the knowledge seekers around the world are basically on duty 24/7. And that's how we're going to create the peace dome on the planet.
In a way, yes. We have, as you know, the American Corona team. We have French Corona team, the Italian Corona team. They're all helping each other. We are and we become a force to be reckoned with internationally. But at the same time, governments see us as what I call what they cannot earn money out of. In Brazil, there are 6,196 members. 213 people are getting help. They're live online. And so we monitor around the world how each group is developing and how they're doing. But essentially, the knowledge is in the hand of the people. And that was my plan. Governments cannot stop you saving your life in the house. They have no answer for Corona. And they have no answer if your child is sick and dying of it, except you, with less than 10 cents, making a cup of life, following the instruction and saving lives.
And in essence, the assets of the foundation are the members.
The assets of the foundation are the freedom of the knowledge of people to use it. When we had a case in Iran a few months ago. There were two people in the hospital, 35 man and 30-year-old woman. The hospital did not tell us that they have given the Gans technology to the man, and the woman was, they want to see if it's effective. The man survived and went home, and the girl died 2 days later. And this man was told that he was using the plasma technology. He was fully aware of it with the knowledge seekers in the hospital. And about a few, 2 or 3 weeks later, I received on my private message a picture of 2 boys, one 3 years and one 5 years, standing next to each other. It was the man. He said, "Mr. Keshe, your cup of life allows these 2 boys to have a father." And that answers a lot. With less than $1, you can save a life. And that's so simple. And 2 children have a father for life. And strange enough, the mother had a 6-month-old baby who she died. It's the world leadership was letting the people down, and the technology is there to do it.
So how long do you think it will take the average person on the street to be aware of this technology within their soul, Dr. Keshe? That's one of the questions that I've been asked on the forum here.
You've got to understand the Fox television channels. Fox controls 85% of the world media. They have received instructions not to allow on any circumstances Keshe Foundation to come into public. The owners, leaders of Fox television are responsible for the death of millions of people. That's all. If we go on the way we are on the internet in Iran and around the world, we are helping. If we go Keshe Foundation on television, on radio, for public to know. Everybody will know within the house. There'll be no corona in America. Actually, what I said before, the murders of this cycle of corona are the head of Fox, the board of directors of Fox. You got to understand, these majority of the leaders on the board of Fox are pedophiles. They're connected to child abuse, and they're connected to the regime which support this. We had no problem till 2012, when the King of Belgium came and asked me to give my technology frigid to him and to his family that they could control. And I refused. And he told me, leave my nation or I kill you. And I said to him, I'll leave, but you won't be president or king for long. And that became the time, in a way, where the problem of the Keshe Foundation started. And we ran into a problem with what we call the state of Belgium. When a king comes to see a scientist and he wants his technology, it shows the power of the technology. And from that day, we know this king is pedophile. He's got 50 cases of child abuse in the world, in France. Some of them dying children. And he influenced the Fox and the media to take Keshe Foundation off everywhere. And in that process, it started everything about the Keshe Foundation. False kangaroo courts and everything else. The picture I put on the screen, you see the lady sitting on the table? The man in the middle is me writing my 4th book. The lady sitting next to me, and the number of these pictures, is the Queen of Belgium. And the man in a pinkish trousers in the back is back in the King of Belgium at the time in 2012. They knew where I was writing my book, in a remote cafe in mountains of Belgium. A king and a queen on a Sunday afternoon come to see a scientist to ask for his technology or kill him. This is how powerful it is. Brings the key to his knees. And this is when I left the Belgium, months after this picture. They bombed my car. They shot at me in the highway street. I escaped to Italy. They poisoned me in Italy to kill. They killed my assistant in a car accident set up to kill me. This king is the reason many people are dying. This is the ex-king of Belgium. He abdicated months after I left. I told him, I leave, he won't be king. I left in February of 2013. Months later, he abdicated because of the child abuse, having an illegitimate child by another woman. And the queen didn't know. But in a way, queen plays outside herself. This is a habit of Belgium. Adultery, child abuse, pedophilia is a part of this nation. And this meeting is the cause of millions of people dying around the world. Today from Corona. From this day, they took everything of us. Before this day, every week, national papers, radios talked about the Keshe Foundation, the second Tesla, reincarnation of Einstein. All there, we have boxes of newspaper publication. And now, this pedophile king, he's still alive, responsible for death of tens of children while he's raped them, is there. I'm very open because we have a case in the European Court of Justice for this. They made the court case, didn't let us to give any evidence, and they gave me false 2.5 years suspended prison for, and even the police went to the court with guns, threatening the Keshe Foundation supporters. Hitler didn't do this. Mussolini didn't do this. Belgians went in the court with guns on the head of the Keshe Foundation supporters who were there to give evidence. We couldn't give any evidence. Now we take into European Court of Justice and are hackling and battling in European Court of Justice to stop this. A king ordering kangaroo court in his country to take a technology. This is why you're dying on the streets of the United States, because It's a total ban by the pedophile king and the board of Fox Television and media, who are a bunch of pedophiles, have taken this case. The wife of your president in the United States is a prostitute, well known. She has a page on Wikipedia. Keshe Foundation is not allowed to have a page on Wikipedia. Every time push-up is taken down. Because the head of Wikipedia is a pedophile, otherwise he won't allow this. We are very open about it. You go on the Keshe Foundation, you put Mehran Tawakkali Keshe. Everything which is false put on there, facts about Keshe, and everything else is put by the Belgians. And the guy who put it up died of corona April of this year. And he was one of the people who wrote the patent, but the Belgian wouldn't let him use it, and he died of corona. And all because of this man and his son. The present king of Belgium is the man who's put his finger on this technology. The smallest nation in Europe controls the biggest nation in Africa, Congo. And the smallest nation, because I used to live in Belgium, wanted the technology to control the whole world. It didn't happen. A pedophile king has a board of directors of key pedophiles. What do? They shake hands with each other, one child underwear, the Keshe Foundation off the screen. And anybody touches us in media, Fox boycott them, they won't receive any more news. You have to look in the board of directors of Fox. How many of them, how many children under the table? Very easy. Put your first lady, you tell you, Trump paid a lot of money. How many men have had the pleasure of her body? Is in the Wikipedia. Keshe Foundation helping millions with a new technology you cannot find. It's as simple as this. This king told me, we take you off all the medias. You will not exist on the internet till you give me. Now you have it. This picture, publish it. It's on the internet. And he sits and drank a coffee with me for an hour, threatening me and my life. And this picture was taken by another lady in the cafe. The next day she came and says, Mr. Keshe, we held all the threats. These are the pictures we took. Keep it.
So how do we how do we combat these people, Mr. Keshe? These pedophiles.
We put the head of this organization called Alan Sterling in prison with the help of FBI and CIA 3-4 years ago. He got life in prison for raping to his own daughters at the age of 1 and 2. And he controlled most of the media for the King of Belgium in pedophilia traffic. And in solitary prison, he has given the details, access key to most of pedophile network around the world, because he used to run a group called Free Energy Peace Wiki. And so children and people used to go to find free energy. They were taking their IP numbers and following the children and selling them on the net. When we put Alan Sterling into prison with the help of FBI, we saw huge attacks on Keshe Foundation, because a lot of the dealers and traffickers suddenly ran out of money because there were no children, so he was controlling everything. And the head office was sitting in Antwerp with a guy we know as Rick, what do you call it? Dirk. And we broke up the system. And up to now, 120,000 pedophiles have been registered through him, and some 7,000 of them have been arrested around the world. The only person they can't arrest is this man in pink standing there. He's the biggest pedophile. He is involved in a number of children who were killed and found in Brussels and in Belgium. Dirk took a lot of pictures from the sites where he buried the children, and we have access to those because he used to write all the, what you call, the pictures of the books I wrote. We didn't know at the time. And in those files, we found a lot of pictures of where the children are buried. Keshe Foundation security, we have it is our possession. This is the habit of this people of this nation: adultery, prostitution, child abuse. And to them it's normal. And the process is very simple. You become head of Fox, the director, CEO, and the rest. Very nicely, they invite you to a party, they put a little girl in your bed with you, they take a few pictures, you are done that way. A few seconds of pleasure. We've seen the same thing with the guy who was hung in prison in New York. That's what he did. He put children with young girls, as we saw the Prince of England, in bed, took pictures, and that was it. They controlled them. And all the electronics is supplied, securities, all the details, what they need is supplied by Gate. There are pictures of him with Bill and his financial advisor. The crime is well orchestrated on the top. And this is a picture of it. Have you ever seen a king with a camera? And he gave this camera to his bodyguard, says, take a picture of me and Mr. Keshe. And he told me very simply, we'll see who's still alive on this picture. And they came to kill me. I left Belgium with 3 suitcases in one car, and the Italian government gave me the sanction. Put this in public and see who the king is, and the queen is sitting there with a little dog on the base. She's there. That's how they kill scientists. You give what we kill. And that's why we are not on the news, and that's why so many Americans are dying. You go on the internet to find facts about Keshe, victims of Keshe. These are all made up by this king, paid to be put. Anything wrong with the Keshe Foundation, they put it up. Anything says positive is deleted. But in a way, the technology is so advanced that there shall be no king, because we'll be the king of our own lives and we rule it.
And once we have peace on the planet, what's really going to happen to these souls that initiated all this?
These souls, you have to understand the operation of the soul. These souls will never come up anywhere. They're little dots. They're little dots in the middle of nowhere, going nowhere. You got to understand that in essence, if you go in the depth of the knowledge the way we understand it, the planets like Earth are the nursery of souls, are the nursery of the seeds of the new stars. That's why we are created. We put a little onion in the water, we put it in the soil, we water it to create that plant. And then we plant that plant somewhere to show its beauty with its flower. The process of creation of the man or planet like this is to create life, to create that essence seed of the what we call the stars. And on the time when we die, when our soul is released, is a fully integrated package. And through its strength, it finds its position in the universe and becomes a seed for a new cycle of solar system, of a new life. It's not just there is no purpose in life, because we never understood. Now we understand. Now we have technologies which we can film it when the soul leaves the body as a package of energy. Where does it go? It doesn't spread like a cloud. It has a center, it has an origin, it has a field of strength which matches somewhere in this universe. Now become a seed. This is why planets like Earth are precious. We are the nurseries of life in the span of the universe. Now we understand more of it. And where does these souls go? Nothing. They can't create nothing. And they're aware of their own conduct because they exist. They are interacting with the others. There is more than life as we see it. Otherwise, there would have been no purpose. Now, with the new technology, we can follow the traces of the soul. And in the time come, we can find the places of soul. These are not theory anymore. We have it in fact. If you use the 3 cameras, which are on the Apple, and you can take a fast enough pictures, and you happen to be present when somebody passes by, dying, being an animal or human being, you will see the energy flow from the body. Many people have taken these pictures of them. And scientifically, we say when you die, energy equal to 18 Hiroshima bomb is released from the body, which most of it is the soul of the man. Where does it go? It's dynamic, it has gravitational magnetic field, and by law of physics and plasma has to find its position. Is made of this solar system, is made out of the material of this galaxy and the universe. So it finds its new place. It's a seed of a new cycle. This picture you see on the screen is one of the most or lowest point of my life, one of the most shameful pictures I ever taken. But in a way, you see the end of a kingship and a kingdom. There shall be no king. Because when you conduct correct, you don't need somebody to run a country and a nation to abuse you, where there'll be no court because you don't commit a crime. There'll be no hospitals because unless it's an accident, even that you can sort out, there is no need. There'll be no jail because we don't misconduct. We are not dreamers because we have the technology, we can do it. We can go into penitentiaries, put a system there, and sort the root of the problem with the prisoner. Don't send him out to come back in a few months. Send him out that he starts a new life. He understands his problem. His root, sort the problem at the root. Our biggest problem is what we are looking at, how many of these units we can produce rapidly around the world. Our estimate is between 3,000 to 5,000 a month, which is not enough. And maybe in 5 years, we'll reach a balance of about maybe 100,000 to 200,000. And we'll see.
But it takes the effort of everyone to do this, doesn't it, Mr. Keshe? It takes all the people of the planet to get together as one and initiate this plan of peace.
This technology now is used by people in the depth of Amazon jungles. You see them, they're wearing Keshe Foundation Gans. The world leaders have it on their desk. They drink from it. So it's gone what I wanted. From the bottom to top, they use it. When last year, actually early this year, in February, the CPC heads were asking the Keshe Foundation head of intelligence, because they use our technology in Chinese upper structure, that can you get some of these waters to heads of CPC because they need it. The ruling party in China, most of them don't walk away without these cancers being around them. When it's needed, it's applied. The same is with the Iranian government. The whole government uses it, but they don't let it come out. We've seen them on the tables. Very recently, hours, we're talking limited hours ago, the Iranian president has said, I've got nothing to do with Keshe, we don't want to stop him. But why does he keep on accusing us? He said, it's very easy, you call the president and the president asks his national security to talk to us in Europe. So it means you're talking to block us. The Iranian president, Mr. Rouhani, in the past few hours has confirmed he's not trying to stop the Keshe Foundation going international. So he said, open the doors. World leaders know about us. The problem is, what is going to be it? All factories in America will stop. 40, 50 million people will are unemployed. You can't sell military hardware anymore. Well, I said to the Chinese the same. Let's use these brains into developing it further space technology and comfort of the man. And it can be done. I was involved in it in 1990s when Western Europe opened up to the East. We changed factories making tanks and guns, in making pianos and buckets and clocks. It's all there. I've been involved in many transitions in the past 40 years at the highest level. And we've achieved it. It can be done. The biggest problem for the West is with this technology, they will lose their control and power of robbing and stealing other nations with false wars. And meanwhile, nations like Iran and China and Russia are developing it as fast as they can, how they can do it. The capture of American ship in Black Sea, 5th of May, a few years ago, was the use of this technology. They blanked out the whole ship. Americans could do nothing with it. It's the problem is the administration at the moment in the White House. If we had, following Obama, the second administration, the third administration of the other side, we would have achieved a lot because we had a good relationship with Obama's administration. Very good relationship. We achieved 5+1. We achieved many other things. But hopefully, Mrs. Harris will be a good negotiator to negotiate it as a new president of the United States. As I said, we envisage months ago, I announced I support Harris as a vice president. And we see Biden will not last long as a president. And we'll see the first double female president and vice president of the United States in the White House. She will use, if she comes to power, another lady to support her. And we'll see a double women White House board, which is well within the Keshe Foundation reach. We have 2 ladies heading the Keshe Foundation. And we're already negotiating in the background. On arrival in the White House, the 4 ladies meet and plan out the world peace. We deliver technology, we deliver peace, and expect American response the same.
So I'd like to thank you for coming on tonight, Mr. Keshe. I'd like to thank all those knowledge seekers that joined us in the Zoom room, as well as our 4 panelists. So now I'd like to turn this back to Caroline, and I pass you the talking stick, Caroline, to close out our show.
Wow. Thank you so much. If everyone could mute, please, that would be great, because I'm hearing a lot of chatter or a bit. Thank you so much to Mr. Keshe. What an absolutely astounding evening this has been. Huge thanks to our co-host, Randy Miller, for interviewing this very unusual, very brilliant man, whom we're all honored to know, even long distance. Perhaps some of us work with him etherically and just support what he does. So again, if you'd like to find out more about the Keshe Foundation, you can go to, let me see here, trying to get the chat up again, Keshe.Foundation, and it's spelled K as in kangaroo, E, S as in Sam, H-E .Foundation. And you can find a great deal about Mr. Keshe online, in YouTube, etc. And we really encourage everyone to get the 1 cup and learn how to make the Gans water. This is just, it's highly progressive technology. It's higher dimensional, I think. It can be very healing and positive for people in different ways for different people. Explore and see what it is for you. And definitely look into this, learn more about it. You can join the Knowledge Seekers Workshop if you want to get involved in this as a movement. And it's just a very beautiful New Earth expression. So we want to thank all of our listeners for being here this evening, everyone listening live and on replay, everyone on the Zoom call. Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you so much to Mr. Keshe and all of my lovely co-hosts, and much love to everyone.